listening to and or watching the Upland Down Under podcast. Tonight's show is recording live on Thursday, 7th of March, a little bit late tonight, 7:06 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. Lots to go through on tonight's show. We've got to catch up on the Upland market floors, check in on the neighbourhood ratings for March and the Upland Racing Series leaderboards. We've had another seasonal pass rewards drop, and not to mention the long-awaited private transportation feature has arrived, and not without some interesting twists and turns. Monthly Spark Weeks have been replaced by Spark Weekends. There's the big Genesis Week 2024 announcement to look into, and whoopsie! The Upland interns have fat-fingered the big red button again and apparently completely ballsed up the recent stealth expansion of Trenton, setting Upland General into a bit of a meltdown last night, which was interesting to behold and take part in. Anyhow, the main topic for tonight's show is, of course, Upland Lampoon's Vacation Road Trip, steering head-on into the details of Upland's first ever car transportation only city release of South Tahoe. We've also got a very in-depth quips about seasonal pass rewards, and of course we'll take a look at another Upland community member spotlight, care of the Dynamic Node Builders team. All that and more on this, the Upland Down Under podcast. Now I got to get out of my notes and go back here and press these other freaking buttons. I did say before we got kicked off that screen share on this one is a real pain in the butt. But so here we go. Lily one. There you are. That should be good, hopefully. So, yes, we got another sponsor this week. This week's show is brought to you by Aussie Upland community legend Lily Field and her epic map asset metaventure, Lily Bud Design Group. The Lily Bud Design Group currently has showroom locations in LA, the Bronx, Rio, London, and Berlin, and has available a wide selection of awesome self-created assets, from markers in several sizes to assist treasure hunters, deck chairs, gardening equipment, racetrack themed items, and a whole lot more. And speaking of gardening equipment, well, feast your eyes on this next one. Hopefully that's ticked over. No, this one. Come on, man, you can do it. This one, look, how's that for a nice looking set? So Lily is offering up a full garden set as a giveaway for listeners and watchers of this show, which features a wheelbarrow, shovel, spade, and a rake, and some other bits and pieces by the look of it. Stick around for details on how you yourself can get into the running for that epic prize later on in the show. If you're wondering how you can take part in the live recordings of this podcast, I dropped the link to the live podcast in the NBA server Thursday nights at about 6:45 p.m. AEST. That's enough ranting and raving. Let's get into the Breaking Badly news and take a look at what's currently happening in the Upland market floor stats. I did go ahead. I kind of skipped ahead and patched in old mate South Tahoe down there, but that's not yet, of course. Just getting ready for that. All right, so I'm mega zoomed in for this, so this is a bit hard to read this one. Anyway, we'll skip to the 90-day averages. We've got the transaction volume is down 0.7%. The trading volume's down also 0.3%. But look at that, unique active wallets over the last week, up almost 12%. Quite a big jump there, 55,740 last week, 63,290 this week. Is that people getting excited about Tahoe and transportation? Is that people coming in and getting their quests done to make sure that they get all their stuff done for their, what is it, the earnings? Who knows? Total unminted properties, we had 5,000 properties, just over 5,000 minted through the week. That's going to change a bit once we get South Tahoe and whatnot. Now, I just realised too that I need to press that off of the other button. No, that's all good. So what do we got? Cities. I'll do the floor markups first, of course. Worst floor markup at the moment is, interestingly, Las Vegas, 32%. The USD floor there. A whole bunch of others still on 30. Manhattan holding strong at 90. Fresno still in the green, 104. The sales, the outlier. Rutherford, 270. Woohoo. Stockton, 112. That's very interesting, that one. And what else? Lots of 45s, low 30s. Lot going on there. As for the actual cities, what do we got? Berlin's up 12% on the USD, was $8 last week, pushing towards 9. Where's another good double digit? Same at Buenos Aires, was $3.50 last week, 3.88, up over 10%. Fresno getting whopped on the UPX though, 7,500 last week, 5,700 this week. And then a whole bit of wishy-washy. Manhattan, interestingly, down both on the UPX and the USD. Miami up on the USD 10%, pushing away from $5. New Orleans getting flogged in both UPX and USD. Was just under $4 last week, now $3.50, heading towards $3. Oakland's gone a whopping 20% down on the USD. Was $3.75 last week, now $3. Lucky. Queens on the flip side up almost 20%. Was 5,250 last week, now 6,200 and change. And a bit of this, that, and the other all around. Stockton 26.6% up on the USD, was $3.16, now $4. That's very interesting. And Trenton on the flip side, flat as a tack on $3 and also down on the UPX. So yeah, a bit all over the place. I would imagine we got the heads up that Lake Tahoe is probably going to be pretty expensive, so there's probably a bit of liquidity shuffling going on right then and there. Right, I believe we got up next is the neighborhood ratings. Now, I wasn't nearly going to not do this segment like we did last month because, there's been no announcement about poor old Mercer Manor, and then this has only been just updated in the last 24 hours. I checked it last night and it hadn't been updated, but thankfully, one of the interns has pushed the right button and it's been updated now. Currently, Midtown Terrace at the number one spot, 13.251 score. Quailwood just behind on 13.24. Greenwich Village, 13.2, and then a whole bunch in the 13.1s. I would have to think Quailwood's going to go for it this month. I don't think Midtown Terrace has got much chance of holding the number one spot. But we shall see how we go.
Yeah, Quaywood started to push to organize something for this month. So your
Yes, I did
expectation will be
hear.
right.
Yeah. There is a bit of toing and froing about shuffling with people's home addresses in some of these other ones as well. So, Lake Woodcomas, they're going to take a run for it at some stage as well. So be very interesting to see how it plays out. All right. So yes, there's been a boatload of stuff to go through this week. It's all been happening in Upland. Let me just close some of these tabbies down. I might save this new computer from melting down. Now, I'm going to go back to share screen. Apologies. Hopefully it's this one. Yes. All right. So, Planned Racing Series, X1 did put a little video out going through the leaderboard for this. We'll just update that for shits and giggles. It was interesting to note, based on last week's weekly challenge, not many people seem to be real keen or involved in this one. Or there were a few people that doing a lot of coordinated stuff, which is pretty cool. Where's the actual leaderboards? Are they in here? Come on. I thought it was part of the same thing. Just because I assumed it. Oh, here we go. Look. Leaderboards. Pro Series 1. Medish way out in front, 2,300. Oh, mate, Maddox, I thought he was trying to sell his S1 up. Maybe he's holding on to it. Few names there. Andia too. Oh, good to see Andia too. Shout out team up in the list there as well. Series 2. TJ Miami Boy. F and Smoke up there. Happy MFR. Ginsgriller. Mash Chef. Plenty of well-known names there. Series T. F and Smoke again. Whoa, he has been busy. Ginsgriller again. The Agency. More on him later. Happy MFR again. Float 09. White Ferret. Okay, there's a few names coming out of the woodwork there. Scientist Wooly Bala. Volleyballer. That is an old name from way back in the day. Zoe Wedgecloud. Look at that up there as well. What's that for the Series 4?
Yeah,
1,300.
I was working really, really hard on trying to maintain that first place, but
Mm.
I'm Upland broke. I'm trying to sell some assets, so if you are interested, let me know. Lily, there's a NOLA prop. Yeah, I'm so long as I'm like top 5, I think it'll be worth the effort and the cost, because I've had to pull out quite a few favors in order to just maintain that spot, and it's the first Upland event I've ever participated in, like to this extent. So
Good on you.
I'm hoping.
Yeah, that's good. Scientist, he's a well-known, very active community member, but yeah, volleyballer. Haven't seen or heard
Yeah,
that name around
there
for
are
quite a while.
some names I know from different discords, which are doing their work in this events to
Yes.
not go deep in detail. We
Nice.
did that last
And
week.
old mate, we did, yes. And old mate City Pigeon is kicking butt in the go-karts. That's cool. And look at that, Nubex as well. And the agency's got a spot there also. So, no, that's pretty cool. But yes, I was pretty much in line with what a lot of people had said as well, that too time consuming. I just can't devote enough time to it. So it's one of those things, kind of like what you said, Zoe. Once you start it, you're gonna feel like you have to stick to it. So yes, I just steer clear totally. All right, racing through. Now we did have, of course, we had some more frosty season pass drops. I don't know. I thought these were kind of on par with what we've already seen. Nothing super duper exciting. I don't know. I certainly haven't seen anything that's going to tip me over to get my, what is it, $7 or whatever it is for next month. But wait and see. Anybody else? Did you enjoy that one? Oh, what are we watching now? Private transportation now. Not who's that? Oh, mate, Shaki. Yeah, make sure you give Shaki a like and subscribe as well. Did anybody want to comment on that? The seasonal pass drops.
I was really disappointed with the first lot, but I have to say I was pleasantly surprised once they started adding in the hearts and trees and different things. So, yeah.
Yeah, they're definitely not getting worse, which is, take that for what it's worth. But yeah, I don't know. Is it what you've seen? Is that enough to keep you interested moving forward? I know it's not. As I said, it's not for me.
Yeah, I'll probably buy the next one. Especially because like it's not just a single drop, it's a drop each week. So to me the value is there. It's more just whether or not they're cosmetics I'm inclined to use.
Yeah, well, yeah, I suppose I've put all mine on what I could. Lily's in also. It's only $7. Yep, true.
Yeah, I've added mine. I like the variety, especially me at the treasure hunting. I like to see different variety when I'm clicking on properties to send to and stuff. And the only thing that gives me any sort of comfort is that they are appearing to get slightly better each week. If they are listening to any feedback from the community, like Elslack's, trial that he wants, or any sort of vouchers, stuff like that. Who knows? Like it could get better. So I probably will get the next one, but I'm like you. I'm a little bit meh at the moment, but I think it's getting better.
Yes. Now we're just looking. If you're on the Spotify, we're just looking at Tahoe at the moment, and I'm kind of zooming in and out to have a look at the other block explorers. And yeah, there's plenty of folks around that have got all the bells and whistles on. So seems to be reasonably popular at least. Lily bought an extra one for a keepsake. Yeah, I did that this month. I can't imagine I'm going to do that next month. But then it's once you pop, you can't stop. I don't know. Maybe I just got to stop being a wanker and just do it. Getting in the car now. All right, hurry up, Lily. Don't miss the boat, so to speak. Speaking of that, that's a good segue over to what we've got going on with private transportation. As I said at the start of the show, very long-awaited feature. This one, good to see that come through to fruition, of course. Transportation has arrived. Diving into the details, Upland's private transportation unveiled. Don't think we need to dive into the details all that much. We kind of discussed this a little bit before we got kicked off. There's a few quirks and challenges associated with this. There has been some pretty lively discussion in Upland general. There's ways around moving your car with doing temporary swaps with other people, but I believe it's Squall Muzzer was kind of saying you might get yourself in trouble there with wash trading, and Sir Ness was saying, well, where's that in the terms of service? And there was a terms of service, terms of service 7.2 was, or whatever the hell it was mentioned, and they were kind of getting down into the nitty gritty of all of that. Basically, the gist of it seems to be that if you do want to move your car to anywhere on the map, easily and for free, in air quotes, you can do a swap with a trusted source. However, just be really careful of swapping like for like. If you're doing a swap, if I'm swapping my S1R for somebody's cart so we can place them wherever we want to, that's more than likely going to get flagged. Levan's put something in chat here. Please keep in mind that all trades need to be done at fair market value. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm alluding to. This is something that is in the terms of service at a base level. We are not taking any action at this point in time, but this could potentially come up in future investigations. Please exercise caution when creating trades in this form in future. Yes, and as I also think we discussed before we got kicked off, there has been some people recently jailed based on things that happened, months or years ago. So if you are doing those kind of swaps, make it a like for like value, and just be careful. Wash trading, I believe, is what it's going to fall under, or that's what Squall Muzzer or whoever the CM was that was saying it. Has anybody played around with that, taken advantage of it? I had all my cars good to go in San Francisco.
Yeah, I think I need to switch some cars to get them to other continents, because all are on the West Coast. I just did some road trips to put a car to Queens from LA, and another one to Stockton, and next one to San Francisco. But these road trips are in the night when I'm in bed, so it's only the UPIX to spend for these cars. But that's the intended way to move cars, not to swap them, to let them spawn in other points.
Yes. Oh, I've got it turned off. Yeah. So yeah, I haven't played around with that myself, other than I thought it was strange that within the same city you can just airdrop it wherever you want. If you're going city to city, it's a bit bizarre to see your car just going straight across the water. That was a bit funny. It'd be nice to see that fleshed out and make it a bit more realistic. But then we see trains and that go straight across the water too, so there is precedent there, I suppose. I don't know. I'm just going to try and do that. Yeah, I've just got all my cars basically stacked up in San Francisco on a showroom property I'm building, except for I think it's my Stock Car Pro or something, one of those ones, the Trainer Series one. That's the one I burnt to Tahoe in. So, do we know? I would assume we're in Tahoe and we're out of our cars. So now the actual city releases, you just do that as per normal, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm aware of. Yeah.
The only thing you can't do is what we did in Berlin while the release was, just to travel from the airport to the train station back and forth to get the right direction with your Block Explorer. This doesn't work now, because you just need to put a cent in effort to just jump to the Launchpad properties to get another direction. So maybe it's a bit more fair, but yeah. Let's see how it works this evening, or later this day, or tomorrow, or whenever the lunch is at your local time.
Yeah, there was a few people got caught out too, where they've travelled to Stockton in their car, they've disembarked, and then it appears like, because those launchpad properties are only small, and where you place your car, like from what I can gather, if you go to those launchpad properties, you can't see like a whole stack of cars all lined up. They just kind of automatically disappear. So then people have realised they've got there, they've disembarked, and thought, I've got no sends, and they want to get back in their car, and they can't find their freaking car.
Yeah, it's underground parking garage. You can't see them.
Yeah, Lily said they said you can only see your own car. Yeah, so the workaround of that, of course, is you have to go into your assets and scroll through, and you can click it from there and get in it and get out.
Yeah, but you need to know which car if you have more than one, because there is no display where the car is placed, like the totems or map assets or something like this. Only.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, if you've got that many of the same car, I guess you can deal with a little bit of extra clickety clacking. You're not doing too bad. Yeah, so that was interesting to see. Again, there's been, this has kind of kicked off the speculation with boats and all that stuff as well. Lake Tahoe boats. That has been talked about for a very long time. Why not?
Yeah,
More stuff to sell for
yeah,
USD.
maybe we will see or some announcement that we get eventually soon in the future years, something like that, because we have the property background with the little fisherman boat, and you have all this focus on waterfront properties. You can win waterfront properties, so maybe in the future time. Sometimes they say, as we said years ago, here are the first iteration of boats which can't be used for anything, but hey, you can buy it from the store.
Yes. Yeah. Very nice. Row your boat. Yeah. So private transportation, as I said, yeah, good to see that come to fruition. It is. There's a lot to be improved on there, but we've got the minimal viable product, and it's kind of doing what it has to do at a base level. Right, that wasn't the only other surprise through the week. We also had, this was an interesting one, Spark weekends. No more Spark weeks. I haven't actually looked at this myself, so I'm going to just quickly dive through this, which is hard to do zoomed in. Anyway, Spark weekends, elevate your Upland adventure. Shaking things up in March, moving from the traditional Spark weeks to introducing Spark weekends. Oh, what I did see is that the Spark sale that they put up, very low amounts up there, and that was kind of interesting to watch the FOMO on that, because they only had small amounts up for sale. They disappeared really quickly, so maybe that's a smart way to go about things. Spark weekends are designed with you in mind, offering a more regular cadence every weekend during a season to boost your gameplay experience. By aligning these weekends with a seasonal structure, each weekend within a season will be a chance to shine. Please note, Spark weekends take a break during the inter-season weeks, making each season weekends all the more special. Yep, that sounds good. Good. People are not going to have to sit there sweating over the bloody level up button for so long. I think it's good. Very good change. When do Spark Weeks happen? Friday morning, 3 a.m. my time, blah, blah, blah. Spark sale. Yes. So what were the quantities? Did it say there? Yeah, right, very low. 30, 30, 10, 15, and 15. So yeah, and they got snaveled very quickly. So all in all, I thought that was a pretty positive change, that one. Anybody get involved? Get yourself some extra Spark? Did you go all FOMO-tastic?
No.
I don't buy Spark, you know that.
No.
I could
It
need
is
more
Green
Spark,
man.
but I'm not willing to pay for it again. So
Yeah,
just
the
collecting
FOMO.
treasure chest.
Yeah. The FOMO only got me when I was, what am I now? I think I'm just over 30. I'm 30.2. So yeah, I think I was like 29.8 Spark or something. I was like, yeah, well, okay, of course I just got to do it. So, but that was a month or two ago. So that's how it got me.
So do you reckon this is all building up to something at Genesis Week?
Sparklet, is that what you're hinting at?
Yeah, I think so. They seem to be sort of getting their ducks in a row. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they announce it at Genesis Week and like with actual dates or something, if not already live. That's what I'm thinking. I mean, it's still what, 3 months away, so
Yeah, there's a bit of a hint. Well, we might as well just go straight into that, eh? There's a bit of a hint with some of the block explorers they're offering up for sale. It's this one, yeah. Genesis Spark Week. Everyone was expecting this pretty soon. Block Explorers again. Early bird tickets, I would imagine they're all gone. That's the anybody, what's that, like a Tweety bird or something? That's one of the Block Explorers. But yeah, it's this one. Now, this is for the attendees. Turns up a fun like us. Now, some people have speculated that this slot machine Block Explorer is going to be an animated one because it looks kind of animated. Interesting. The slot machine is ready to shower you with sparkly rewards. That kind of definitely hints at Sparklet. And then, of course, there's the Genesis 2024 Trifecta Block Explorer. If you've been to both of the other ones and you attend this one, that's a pretty cool one to get. So there's a big spark symbol on that. So, yeah, I think you're bang on the money there, Smiley Man.
I
I'd
hadn't
put my money on it.
I hadn't seen this page because I haven't looked at anything Genesis Week. Obviously, being 400
Mm,
billion kilometers away, I'd love to
yes.
go, but and I'm looking at these block explorers and I'm a little bit FOMOing now, a little bit jealous. Like I actually, because I like everything Spark. I won't be going out and paying stupid amounts of money for them, which no doubt they'll cost. But it frustrates me that us in Australia, Genesis Week's just not really an option, especially multiple Genesis Weeks. So it is what it is, I guess.
Yeah,
And
just
just to give
checked flight times from Europe to 27 hours, which with several hours in Detroit or Dallas to switch planes, and then over €1,000 for one way, and then wooden class in the plane, cheapest. And I said, wow, okay, this is definitive too much. And then the visa and the hotel again, and they have to put 10 grand in it. It's a bit too much for just a short trip for an online game. So I didn't start a discussion with my wife about spending money for this, but I know what she would say about it.
Yeah, so just for shits and giggles, I just searched that myself. Flights Gold Coast to Las Vegas, minimum 1,786. So, but you factor in all of the other costs associated, you have to double that. So you're talking three and a half grand, easy. And that's showing in US dollars. So you're probably talking more closer to the 4 or 5 grand. So yeah, and I would hate to think what the flight time on that would be, but yeah. Anyway, let's get back to there. Let's get back to this one. See if there's any other juicy stuff in there. Genesis badges. Each year, players ascending Genesis Beach will get a unique badge. Yep, Genesis Week 1, 2, 3. That's pretty cool. All right, see if there's any hints here. Our anticipation for Genesis Week 2024 is sky high, and we're all set for it to be the most memorable edition yet. Truly an occasion you won't want to miss. The announcement is merely the first of many, offering a glimpse into the Block Explorers. Stay tuned. Okay, so not a whole lot of details there.
It just try to top the last Genesis Week, and so this super and awesome and exciting and all these adverbs will just get more and more in every announcement for every following Genesis Week.
Yes.
Did you see the announcement from Upland? I think it might be next one, that they're not going to do any broadcasting this year. They're going to any broadcasting that is going to be done is going to be done by content creators, nothing to do with Upland themselves.
So no official broadcasts.
That's what I heard. That's what I saw. I don't know. I mean, I would like more clarification on that. I mean, obviously we're not going to be there, so I'd like to tune in for a little bit and at least listen and watch the videos of the announcements and stuff like that. Like I remember last year watching Shaq win Player of the Year and them talking about all the different games that they're playing, like that soccer game and stuff like that. And so if Upland aren't doing, because they said something about the poor quality of the videos or something like that, I'm like, well, poor quality is better than no quality.
Yeah, well, that's what Lily said in chat there. Theirs was unwatchable anyway. Yeah.
But
well, if
content creators
are
going to be, as I say, content creators to me, for the most part, will be busy experiencing it themselves, being part of it, not so much worrying about trying to produce content for us to watch who aren't there. That's my fear of it anyway.
Last year. That's what happened last year. Like that the content creators put out the stuff that they did put out was through the official Upland stuff. And it was basically the only person that was putting stuff up regularly was Mr. Alan C, who was a kind of a new community member at that stage. So I remember reaching out and just thanking him in Discord afterwards, saying, "Hey, thanks for putting all that stuff up." Because from afar, it's very few and far between. So that's disappointing. I mean, if they have problems, wouldn't you work towards fixing it rather than just throw your hands up in the air and wash your hands of it? That just seems kind of like a cop out, pathetic, too hard basket.
what I heard was that they have to use. I think it might have been on the Goldie show. It might have been X1 talking to Goldie. I think they said something about they have to use the equipment that's available there at the venue, and it's just not up to standard to what they need. So this year they're just not going to do it and leave it up to the content creators to create stuff for everybody else, I guess. And so I'm concerned that we're going to miss out on a lot, but hopefully not.
Yeah, well, that sucks. I mean, there has to be ways around that. But yeah, maybe there's not. Maybe they're just painted in a corner, and it's the lesser of two evils. Who knows? Who knows? I always, even though some of those the broadcasts were a bit janky and clanky or whatever you want to do, I still appreciate being able to watch those on the back end on YouTube at 2x speed. You can stop, you can pause. Hang on a minute. Well, what did they just say? You can go back and rewind it, rewatch it. Yeah, to just totally throw that in the garbage bin. Yeah, that definitely sucks. Anyhow. All right, so speaking of sucks, we'll move on. I said at the start of the show, whoopsie, the Upland interns have fat fingered the big red button again and apparently completely ballsed up the recent stealth expansion of Trenton, sending Upland General into meltdown last night. I happened to just click into Upland as I was getting into bed. I was supposed to go to bed at 9 o'clock, but then I got caught up in this whole thing. Did you catch wind of this? Did you know what was going on there?
Is it
Oh,
the
boy.
collections which were released, and so
Yeah.
a little amount of players got all these nice rare props, like they did in Trenton with the first silent expansions. Yeah,
Yes,
and they said collections will be locked, but they weren't, and say, "Oops."
Yep. Yes,
Song from
old
Britney
mate
Spears. Oops, I
Nubbix
did it again. Yes.
did it again. Yeah. Old mate
So
Nubbix was on the ball. Yep, sorry, go ahead.
So this is different from the one that happened the other day with the rares going out, is it?
This was the same situation, but as I'll scroll down, I came into the conversation late and scrolled up to catch up on here. It appears to have kicked off here with Noex, who said, if you're on the Spotify, he says, wait, I thought collections are locked, but apparently it's just fuck them all again. Well done, thumbs up. Sarcastically, of course. It happened again. One person gobbling it all up. Very fun, this. Brabant Swiss jumped in as well. WTF Squall Muzzo, you said the releases would have non-FSA collections locked. WTF again. And then even Squall Muzzo, he was a bit out of sorts with this as well. He said in reply, what? They weren't? I'll take this up. And then there was a whole backwards and forwards with it. Brabant shared a screenshot here of old mate David INV. Apparently, he's just cleaned up and gone gangbusters. The non-FSA collections in this stealth expansion release were supposed to have been locked. They weren't. Brabant and Nubex and a few other community members went off what Squall Muzzer said in general, that they were going to be locked. In fairness to Squall, he was just operating on the information that he had. It's not like he had any direct involvement in it at all, of course. But the end result is that they were unlocked, and a lot of people that were kind of sitting there waiting for this to happen, and then they were told no, they're going to be locked. They all left to go to Tahoe or wherever else they went, and then what do you know? Bada bada boom, they're all released, and somebody just gobbles them all up. So yeah, there was a lot of sour grapes last night. Then we kind of, I believe it was Sir Ness, myself, and a few others. We had a bit of a chat backwards and forwards about, well, what's the point of FSA with all of this stuff and yada yada. So pretty good. If you want to know the details of what actually happened, there's a link to the description of that initial post, and then you can go back and check it out yourselves. But yeah, it was not good. A lot of people butthurt about it, and Squall Muzzer himself was not really impressed that it happened as well. I don't
but
know. Have we had
it wasn't an
any
official
answers?
announcement that they would do it. No? It was just sometimes in the general chat, someone, I think he said he was told that they will lock it, and it's not an official announcement. So
Yeah.
theoretically, nothing to complain about, because it's what just he told me that he told me that he told me that he told me they will do it. So
Yeah, it's just super frustrating. Communication with those sort of things needs to be improved, has to be improved. So
In the court of law, it would all be hearsay.
Yeah, of course. I mean, at the end of the day, it is what it is. Some people made out like bandits, and I kind of said at the end of my chat, well, let's take a look at it from a half full perspective. Some people had the best time of their lives last night, just minting up an absolute feast. I don't believe they were rares. I think it was exclusive collections, something like that. But yeah, they could just mint to their heart's desire until they ran out of ups.
Tell me every other player that wasn't there wouldn't have done the same thing if they could have.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes,
Exactly.
all the ones that are complaining are just chatting in the background to get their upicks moved to the players who can mint. I just discovered some of this in the other Discord channels and other Discords that they say, hey, I sent you 200k upicks. Can you mint this? Because if I travel 4 hours, they are all gone. And
Yep.
yeah, maybe they will get something new for the Alcatraz team because to investigate.
How would they do that though?
Yeah.
Because that's been a feature for city releases from way back when, from the very first iterations of burner properties in Fresno. You'd reach out to a friend, hey, I'm 5,000 short for this property I want. Can we work out a deal? And they'd send you the 5,000, or you do a quick swap and you'd buy it back for a inflated amount. So I don't know how you police that. We need an official bank. Official bank. That'll probably do it.
Well,
Official bank and an official Spark exchange. Yep.
I've been taking out loans with different substantial players in order to be able to keep the racing up.
Yep.
Otherwise, like you're just burning through UpX, at an incredible rate. For every 3 races that we do, it's like 6,000 UpX in fees and everything like that. And that's, utilizing a community and, a cooperation or a strategy to minimize the cost.
Yep.
So yeah, I've not been able to buy anything. I've not been able to do anything except racing, like, since it started.
Yeah, I don't know how they would ever police that, because it just, as I believe it was LeBan said, it's supposed to be a trading game, isn't it?
Yeah. And then you're not allowed to trade.
Not allowed to trade, yeah. But then they say it's not a game either, but it's in big letters. Property
It's
trading
the
game.
Metaverse super app. It's not a game.
And King Cody says in chat, I'm still waiting to mint South Grove. Yes. Yeah. So yeah, the most of the butthurt was that people were told that they were going to be locked. They weren't locked. That kind of sucks. I mean, if you're not 100% sure, maybe it's best not to say anything at all. Probably lessons learned all around for everybody involved. But
yeah, well, some ideas I already read that say maybe don't offer anything than FSA properties in the starter city, but then they said, hey, okay, we can't do them so cheap, or maybe they could lock all the bigger properties and do raffles on it, or pass sales if you want to get something like that, to just don't only let the small players mint there. But hey, on the other hand, then you get the multi accounts back on track to get there in, and it's all pros and cons. Huh? It's
yeah, we kind of went through a lot of that last night. Like I said the same. Like, why don't we just have a starter city that's an actual starter city that doesn't have limited, exclusive, rare, ultra rare collections, and then the rebuttal was, yeah, but then there's going to be properties that are too big and priced out of the FSA. And my kind of reply was, well, hang on a minute, Fresno, I bought 4,000 plus upsquared properties in Fresno for 50K.
Yeah, but that was in the beginning.
And that was a different property bloody pricing structure. Well, change it.
Well, why do we still have the 100k limit for FSA? Why isn't that unlimited now? And just you have 10 purchases that you can buy that are FSA. Who cares whether it's 100,000 for one property and then just make these cities completely FSA. Yeah, but
It'd
that's
be
going to happen anyway.
multi-accounting. Exactly, yeah. But it wouldn't happen if there were no, carrot collections to chase.
Yeah,
If they were
just a
just
standard collection,
whatevers.
King of the
Yeah.
Street and this thing, and the three for the city, and done.
Yeah.
What
Or
are we
just,
thinking about?
I kind of said, sorry, go Swan.
As I say, what are we thinking about these stealth releases in the first place? Obviously, we've got no chance in Australia. We're not getting up at 1 a.m. to check if a city's getting released or not. Or so we're just all of
It
these are
actually
missing.
seems to be the flip side. It seems to be that they're getting released at around 9 p.m. my time. So they seem to be it must be the Ukrainian team that's pushing the red button.
The one I saw, the one that over near Queensway, it was 6 a.m. I
Yeah.
think US time. I don't know if that's East Coast, West Coast, but I estimated that was 1 a.m. for me. Not that I would have been up and going over there anyway, but had we known about it, I might have tried to get it down there and mint something. But I'm not getting up at 1 a.m. or checking every hour overnight. So it's just, again, it's just if you're not in the right time zone, it's just something that doesn't suit you. And it's bad enough getting 2 days notice for a South Toho, like to get no notice. I don't know what they're hoping to achieve from it, other than having a few players buy everything.
Oh yeah, I just wish they'd scrap the whole FSA system entirely. Just make more cheaper starter cities. If there's, the the talk's always been but then the kind of established players are just going to go and gobble up all those properties. Well, they might, but that was the whole history of Fresno, and that boosted all of the new players. Do established players want to go and mint up, I don't know, 1,000 low mint properties? Maybe they do. Release more properties. The market will sort all that out in the long term. Release more cities that are starter cities with cheap prices. I don't know.
And there's a crap load of properties, in the 30% markup for new players to buy as well to build up their accounts. So
USD, yeah.
I maybe FSA is a thing of the past. Maybe it'll be better if we didn't have it at all. But I don't know, this stealth release and then a few players getting it just seems all crap.
Yeah, it's every time the same one gathering the properties, and it's every time the same people who complain about it, and the next release it's switched. it's always the same names in these discussions. So yeah.
I know you might be able to answer it, Buehlman, but is there a way you can create a bot that gives you a notification when these properties are released?
Yes.
So we're offering an advantage to people that got a coding skill over everyone else, and that's where I have a real problem.
It's the same like these locked properties. If they get unlocked, you can check for this property detail and just let them check every second or maybe every minute, because if you do it too often, you get blocked from the servers. It's the same. You can just check the blockchain to see if there are minting transactions in the city. So if the first one starts to mint, you can get an alert, and so you're not the first one, but you're maybe the second or third one if someone started. It's possible if the property lines are up and not unlocked. It's the same like these locked properties from the sales which don't get. So it is possible to get this, unless they are creating the technical to push the button and then do every steps they do before the release at the same time. So just the property lines up, train stations. There are all these indicators that lead to an release, like South Lok Tahoe was in the API weeks ago. So we know that it will come, but not the timestamp. If they all put these things together at the same time when they push the red button to release the city, then it could be a bit harder to get. But if there are these indicators, you can just prepare for it, and then we got an alarm in all this Howard Beach discords, and the one discovered that you can mint Trenton, and it was posted everywhere. So this is some sort of bot alert too, because some people seem to be like bot because they are 24/7 in all discords and writing at the different times.
Yeah, but with Discord, everybody's got access to that. So all you need to do is sign up, and we can do it. With these like sniping bots, only those that know how to code can use that. There's obviously, maybe a dozen or 2 dozen sniping bots, but that's an unfair advantage that they're getting over everybody else. That's where I have the problem with. And if there's a potential that people are getting an unfair advantage over everyone else with these stealth releases, well, then it's not fair. I'm not suggesting that I was going to get over there and mint something myself. I would like the opportunity, but obviously it's going to be high demand and it's low stock, so it's going to be a lot of competition. But that's the game, isn't it? I'd rather see 1,000 people get one property each than one person pick up 100.
Yeah, there are many ideas you can think about, like this Laban said in chat, border control to deny big players. That's a nice idea. Or maybe do some silent release where we just need to put our block explorer to a city or something, and we don't know where we go. Like you get a blind date with a new city, where you have to stay at some point, and then you get transferred to a new city and just. There are many ideas, but hey, they need to code it, and this is the problem with the 1 or 2 developers. Someone said they only have.
I just don't think this stuff works.
Yeah, I like Laban's suggestion.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it?
Put up border control, but I'd take it to the next level. Scrap FSAs, have starter-only cities with really low-priced properties that established players can't get into. You're just completely locked out. Don't
Except
need FSA then.
Secondary market only, you mean?
Yeah, you don't have to buy in the secondary market, and then that supports the newer players that going to get in with flipping. Yeah, but you couldn't have the higher end collections in those because that's just going to continue to pump up the.
You could have a bunch. You could have a bunch of standards, maybe even in a purple or two. But
here or there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but maybe there's some on the roadmap, on the unofficial roadmap, to say that because they only they said that this South Look Tahoe is not a city, it's a resort, so it's a new type of city. Maybe we get smaller towns where you say, okay, there are only one neighborhood. If you just drive through the desert to Salt Lake City or something like that, there are towns which maybe 2 or that's 20, 30 houses. So as you can say, there's nothing interesting for the bigger players. But that's the problem. As long as there is something the bigger players are interested in, they will develop ways to get it. It's always the same, right? If it's interesting, we get it in some more or less legal way. And if there's only a starter city with a small town, maybe 100, 200 properties, no great collections, to just start the game and get in touch how it works, and then you say, okay, and now head your way to San Francisco, Los Angeles, Manhattan, and go play with the big ones, because you learned it here, and the big ones should be kept out, like border control or something like this, or maybe start a city where you can just travel off from and not travel back to, or something like that. There's the possibilities, but it's all work, and maybe we will see it, maybe not, eventually soon. All these words.
This would be a good segue into South Toho with FSO properties. I'm assuming we're getting there shortly.
The only other thing I was going to add to that is I kind of covered it on the Blockweb Beat podcast I put out this week, where the mobile phone usership in Africa is just exploding at the moment. Same in India and a lot of these developing countries, if you want to put it, or continents. Can we get some more cities? I love our American brothers and sisters, but I'm pretty much had a gutful of American city releases. Let's spread the love a bit in 2024. Let's get some African bloody cities. Let's get some Indians and Philippine cities.
I think I have to forgive them for this one because they've been calling out for a vehicle-only city for ages, and it can't really be anywhere else other than the States. But it was interesting to see where the next one is.
Yeah, and Dirk, he specifically hinted at Tahoe months and months ago. He mentioned that in one of the, I don't know, the interviews or something. He mentioned Tahoe.
I think it was one of these Ask Me Anything where he said with Idan in the living room from one of both, and I think the Tahoe was mentioned there.
Yeah. All right.
Actually,
well,
speaking of predictions for the next city, people are talking about having like a boat-only release. I don't know. That'd be one of those eventually situations. But is that Hawaii?
Yeah, but boats are not on the API, but you have motorcycles and bus on the API. So maybe we will get something from this first.
Eventually.
Eventually soon.
Eventually,
by
soon, one day,
by the
hopefully.
next bull run.
Yes. So I wasn't at all surprised to see that it was Lake Tahoe. Good to see that they've got this up and running pretty soon. So the first ever city accessible solely by car, as we kind of covered, South Tahoe, 3 launch properties there. There's not many properties, 13,000 properties. It was Handzilla in the Portage Park server, I think, said today this city release is less properties than what Portage Park has. So kind of funny, that one. So 19 new neighborhoods, 13% of properties will be FSA. It is a resort town, so prices are going to be on the higher side. However,
Yeah, they said
it says
7,000
here
UPEX, no? For the minimum.
7,000 for the minimum non-FSA, up to 1,300 and change for the max price. That can't be. Surely that's not right. The max price seems bizarre.
Doesn't look like there's a lot of big properties there. Going back to that
Yeah, maybe
13,000
not.
properties, remember,
Yep.
so that roughly 1,700, I think I heard someone say, for FSA. Take out
Yep.
another 1,000 for the pass. So down to about 10,000 properties. My gut feeling is this will sell out, if not in the first 24 hours, by the collection reveal. Even if it is slightly, I don't think it's going to be super expensive.
Well, Tahoe Keys, that's going to be.
Yeah, that'll be
You look at
expensive.
that. That just screams collection, doesn't it?
Yeah. Oh,
That
everyone's going to be
screams.
going straight for it.
Yeah, it's got to be rare
Everybody.
collection, surely. Yeah, you would think.
Yeah, which
Don't
means
go
I'll
and try
be
and mint in Truckee Marsh. I believe there's no
empty.
properties in there apparently.
Yeah. I saw that. There's 19 suburbs, but you can count 20 zones, but apparently that one's dead empty.
Yes. My rear with Green Turtle at the moment. I did notice too that it was good to see when I first disembarked, I ended up out in the ocean, which my Block Explorer loves doing, Samurai Aquatics and all that. But it actually rebounded really quickly after getting out just outside the shoreline. So maybe they've tightened those borders up a bit.
That'd be
I don't
nice.
see anybody else out in the Dunga, out in the middle of nowhere. So maybe that was fixed up. Yeah, a lot of big name Block Explorers getting around in here. So there's a lot of liquidity about. Myself being no exception, I've got 10 million stacked in the bank. 10.6 if I collect that.
Do everyone a
Even
favor and
if I
just buy the biggest properties, 1.3 million, and so 5 to 6 properties, and then
Yeah.
you're good.
Get yourself a badge.
get myself a badge, yeah. I've got something on tomorrow that means I'm not going to get up at 3 a.m. If I didn't have that on, I would definitely get up for this. But I'm not. I got to do an all-nighter tomorrow night, so I won't be sleeping tomorrow night. So I got to get as much sleep as I can tonight. Even still, if I was to get in, I would be looking for one kind of decent property, and then I'd probably just gobble up as much as I could to flip for USD. I'm going to hang on to, from my personal plan, is to hang on to just about all of my balance and see if there is anything post collection reveal. I'm certainly not going all in on the collection speculation, but yeah, I mean, you look at Tahoe Keys, as we said, that has to be one. Anybody else got some plans? You going to go all in? You got collections in mind? Don't have to spill all the beans, of course.
Well, I don't have 10 million to spend, that's for sure. There is a road that looks pretty promising for a collection too. So, but it depends on what the Block Explorer is. I won't go all in. I'll try and pick up a few. If I'm anywhere near the keys, I'll try and pick up 1 or 2 from there. But I expect them to be 500,000 or something like that each.
Yeah.
But I do expect that this will sell out.
Lickety split, you reckon? Yeah.
I think it's pretty. I'd be surprised if it's not within 24 hours in the first day. Like, I certainly wouldn't be surprised if it was sold out when you wake up in the morning. But who knows? I definitely don't think it'll be around when the collection reveal. But that people said coins will get sold out too, didn't they, when that first got released, and it's still not sold out.
True. Bit off topic, but Laban's just said as a bit of a joke, "Hey Ben, do you need a terminal?" I was going to actually ask you because I remember you were trying to sell one, and everybody else too. What do you think about this private transportation now that that's a thing? How's that going to impact on the train terminal owners, the bus terminal owners? Are they just going to see the value of their properties just plummet? I mean, it's not really going to do much for the airfare people.
Well, I don't think it will drop too hard because if you if I'm in Los Angeles, I need to go to Tokyo, so I just need the international terminal. And if you have another a flight, and if you have another city in Japan, I don't have a car in this continent, so I can't take my car with me. And I'm thinking that not every player will get a car in every city. So if you need to switch continents, you leave your car where you start to fly to the new city or to the other city, and if you have no car on the other side, so maybe it will not drop as hard as I first expected when they said, "Oh, private transportation." I say, "Oh, cheap terminals," but I don't think it will drop too hard.
I think
international terminals sure will not drop.
Not at all.
But
yeah,
it might affect the buses and trains, which I think are the lesser transport anyway, because like a short hop, especially in New York, a short hop from one borough to another by car is nothing. But even for me to go, like I did it in 2 days to get from Queens to Lake Tahoe, South Lake Tahoe, and that was like 8-hour drive each day. As we saw with Shaq, if she accidentally sent to a different continent, that's a day in 8 hours. It's just too slow. Even if you're going to like from Queens to Chicago, it's a 15-minute flight. Like, why would you take 3 hours, 4 hours in a car or something? So for the convenience, unless you do it overnight or something, but it's just a pain in the butt. Not to mention you can't change your destination, which I mean, good that we got car transport now, but I'm a little bit disappointed with it. And the fact that you can't change, cancel a private vehicle, you're driving your own private vehicle. Like I get why you can't jump out of a plane when it takes off, but your own car, surely you can change your destination or edit your course, or like Shaq should have been able to cancel her trip to Rio or wherever it was she was going to. And that's to me is just we waited 18 months and that's the functionality we got. I was disappointed.
Yeah, and you need a property in the city where you want to drive to.
Yeah.
If you can't drive if there is no property from you or some sort of this launchpad properties.
Or if we could rent Airbnb a house, like it was supposed to have all these different
rentals. There you go.
That's what I'm saying.
Rentals.
People talked about car parks. Like there's all these different options. And like we took 18 months or 2 years to get what we got, which I thought was what we should have had 18 months, 2 years ago. We don't have Spark to charge these vehicles up. We don't have multiple people. Like you can't take passengers. It just goes in a straight line. It doesn't follow an actual route, which that technology has been around for years. I know it's not as simple as just plugging it into Upland.
Yeah, Laban said it in the chat with the Spark or something else to power your car or your vehicle. I think we are in the very first stage of this private transportation. They just release it because they want to release something new.
Yeah, but this should have. What's been released now should have been released 18 months ago, or best part of 18 months ago. That's the bit I'm disappointed about. Like, had the first cars come out and we had this functionality at the beginning, I would have gone, awesome, this is a great start. But that's not it. We're not at a start. We're at 2 years into our owning cars, and we're like, finally we can use them, but accidentally click the wrong city and we can't go back or cancel, or it's just.
And it's the same functionality that we have with the existing buses and train terminals. It's just more in your hands.
So why didn't we have it 2 years ago? If it's just the same stuff, surely they could have just plugged. Again, I'm not a programmer. I don't understand all that sort of stuff in the background, but to me, it just seemed a bit basic. That, like I said, if it had it 18 months ago when the cars first came out, I would have gone, this is awesome. We're making great strides forward. To wait 2 years to get this functionality, I was disappointed.
Yeah, but this functionality doesn't enable Upland to sell something for US dollar to gather money. It sounds hard, but you just need to check. The big development projects from Upland are always focused on getting new US dollars in the game. It's like they release the cars, you can buy them for US dollar. Think about FIFA Legends, you can buy packs for USD. Then you have the next where you have now it's Sparklet, where they just see some dollars on the horizon to get. So these are like all these little small improvements in the user interface, which aren't, even if you are not a developer, nothing hard to code, but they don't get anything from it.
Yeah, they do. They sell Spark.
Yeah.
If you need to charge your vehicle, you don't have enough Spark. So people out there with like less than one or two Spark,
Yeah.
they're trying to build buildings and they've got no Spark to charge their vehicle. They're going to have to go out and buy Spark or hunt for it. So that's like the real world. You buy a car and you've got to fill it up and you've got to repair it and stuff like that. So to me, their money to get back on the vehicle, private transportation, is Spark.
Yeah, and I guess that's a point too, isn't it? That eventually Spark's going to have to power all of these vehicles, which probably negates the concern we had about it potentially dropping terminal prices and whatnot.
I've just driven from Queens to South Lake Tahoe, so that's all up. I think it's almost a full day's drive in real world time. Imagine if that cost me 5 Spark to just do that. I had to stake 5 Spark on my car for the whole time to get it there. For me, obviously that's not too bad, but for some players, that's a problem.
Yes, and I just pulled this up because when Buellerman was talking there about the push for USD sales, this kind of stuck out to me and kind of rang home for me as well. Jack O, forgive me if I'm wrong, Jack O, but he seems to be a fairly newish player, says in the Upland debate channel. I just have to say that's very disappointing that the mistake there. The UPX store, I think it just means the Upland store only charges USD now. I feel my UPX is pretty useless as a member of this community and an investor in the game. Oh, be careful using that term. I have to say I'm extremely disappointed. I raise UPX to buy stuff from the UPX store and now I can't. Thank you. I kind of get the butt hurt there. Like everything nowadays that gets put up in the store for purchase seems to be USD. I get why they got to keep the lights on in the office. It'd be nice to have the option to do UPX for some of those. We used to always have both options available. There was a sale this morning. What was that? Extra Block Explorers. They were all USD and they got gobbled up lickety split too. So
they've always been USD though because they come with UPX.
Yeah, with the UPX. Yeah. Levan says they had wearables recently in UPX, so that was a surprise. Yeah, it's not all inclusive, and of course, maybe that person, maybe old mate Jack is not KYC. You can sell to get your USD balance. As part of that chat, or no, a different chat I had this morning. I was talking to was Nubex and somebody else again, and I was like, I saw those sales this morning, and I was looking at them, and instead of FOMOing into them, I just withdrew my USD balance straight in my bank account. I can't buy something if my balance is 0. Can't get myself in trouble.
Anyway, getting back to Lake Tahoe, what do we think about 1,700 FSA properties where you need to have a car and you can't hitch a ride, and you've got to be under 100K balance? A car, I mean, I guess you get close to 100K and you go out buy a car for USD or something like that, and it doesn't affect. So I guess there are some FSA players that might be able to do it, but 1,700, so that's 170. It's 170 players to mint all of them. So I don't think we'll mint out in a week. It'll only be FSA left over at the end. We've just had 2 cities release for FSA. Why have any FSA here?
You can imagine if there's FSA properties in Tahoe Keys, for example, that's
they will get minted.
Just gonna. Yeah. Well, no, if they're FSA, it's just gonna push for multi-accounting, isn't it? You're just really pushing the foam on the multi.
Well, you'd have to think that'd be too expensive in there for FSA.
Yeah, but on the other hand, you have to think about. They said they can't increase or decrease prices because they need to stick to their strategy. So maybe there are small properties which are what are worth only maybe 2,000, 3,000 UPX, and so they just put the FSA stamp on it to not get them to the big players for this low price. So maybe they just needed to do it. It would be nice to know if you can select South Lake Tahoe as your start city when you register new to the game. So if I create a multi-account, then you can't get out of there. But hey, if you create a multi-account, it doesn't bother you. You just tunnel or funnel your properties on some way to not get to Alcatraz with your main account, and then there's there's a user with 0 properties drifting around in Lake Tahoe, and it's one of the 3 million active users Upland has.
That's a question I had too. Like you're talking about starting there. This is the first resort town in Upland. So are we going to see showrooms and meta ventures here, or is there going to be no city hall? What do you think about that? Has there been any chatter in regards to that?
I didn't think about any. I need a dev shop there too for my game. So hey.
Yeah.
But dev shop
An
don't need
interesting
city
one.
halls, so that will still be
Yes, that's a
possible.
different one.
I mean,
So,
to be
you know,
fair, it's not a terrible treasure hunting city if you can afford to set up a web. So, from that point of view, there are going to be players that might be based from here. So,
could be.
I hadn't thought about it either, but I can't see why they wouldn't.
Yeah, maybe there's just not the property sizes there to do it anyway. I guess we'll have to wait and see.
1.3
so
million,
that's
surely.
you would think so, but they might be in that that special area too. So who would know? Anyhow, there's some other interesting aspects of this waterfront one to giveaway. To celebrate this, they're going to reserve several waterfront properties for a special giveaway, rewarding some fortunate players during this minting event. This is kind of interesting to see how they're doing this. Players whose minting corresponds with the numerical values of the letters that spell out Tahoe will have the chance to win one of these exceptional properties. The following mints will win: T, the 20th mint; A, the first mint; H, the 8th mint. They're just going off the number corresponding to the letter of the alphabet, of course. O, the 15th mint; and E, the 5th mint. That's pretty cool.
I've seen some
Something
people get
different.
confused by that, actually, thinking that if you mint 20 properties or something like that, you get a chance to be in the draw. Like, I
Really?
don't.
God,
I read it
seems pretty
as like
straightforward.
the very first mint gets A.
Yeah.
That's how I read it and
Yeah.
understood it. Which again puts users outside the US probably with no chance because of the ping.
Yeah. You
So
might
yeah,
jag the 20th if you're really lucky.
it'd be nice if they made those numbers much higher in a way somehow to give everybody a chance, not just the people with the fastest computers and the less, response time. But anyway, it is what it is.
Yeah, make it the 200th. Make it the,
Yeah, exactly.
888 or something. You really mix it up. But
Yeah, and
there'll
then
be, what do we got?
comes a real lottery.
5.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
that's all just they're all just going to be the fastest. I mean, everyone's clicking as soon as it goes green. So the first 1,000 are gone within a second. So it's going to come down to milliseconds if and ping.
Yep.
So any gamer knows it pings everything.
Absolutely. And additionally, the player who mints the highest number of Tahoe properties within the first 2 hours of the city release will be rewarded with a waterfront property as well. And then, of course, we got the Mint Master badges, and we already have the Block Explorer sale. So, yes. Hang on. And we've got an exclusive Tahoe Ranch House. Oh, that looks cool. I like that
Unique
design.
builds.
Yeah. Another one you need for the unique fingerprint building badge.
Yep. Oh, and the passes too. I saw some people, I think it might have been Hanzilla again. He went ham, bought up 10 of them, went totally crazy, but then he's bought.
Why?
Shout out to you, Hanzilla. He said he bought 10 passes, but then he doesn't think he's going to have the UPX to mint them anyway. So, yeah, I think he just got captured by the FOMO. It's happened to me before with different things. So, yeah, I don't know. I didn't get one. I wasn't going to get one anyway, but.
I didn't for Tokyo, but I bought this one because going on my gut feeling that this city's going to sell out.
Yep.
And with any luck, I get one of the 80% I can build the unique building on it.
Nice. Yeah, and the pass itself looks pretty cool too. I wonder what they're going for. On the secondary markets for UPX. That'd be interesting.
I
$5.
thought in Facebook, I think 5 passes, $50 or 90K UPX. But this is what someone want for them. It's not they were sold for, but
what they're going to sell.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't look at any of those other marketplaces because they're all stupid. Every time I've looked at them, their prices are astronomical, and I'm like, I just stick to the basics. Even Upland buy, swap, sell page is a bit out there.
the best way that I've found recently is to just go into the actual search function within the game.
Yeah,
Seems to
100%.
work at least half decently. I wonder if I can
Yep.
do that now. Tahoe Images, South Lake Tahoe bus. Yeah, we can. Look.
How do you make a heart with your hands? Is anyone buying the pass with the intention of selling it if they can't, like the ability to mint that property if they don't have the UpX?
Well, you have to sell the
Yeah,
pass
look.
before that comes out, otherwise, because
the
it's locked to you.
snapshot.
Yeah, I thought it'll be locked to you.
Yeah, but what I mean is, like, if you don't have enough, could you advertise so that
Sell your
a
position
person,
almost. Yeah.
essentially, I would have to go and mint it, and then I would
Yeah.
transfer it to them after they've transferred me the UpX to mint. Is
Yeah,
that
interesting.
something that people are doing, or?
A lot of trust involved, but possibly.
Maybe, yeah. I would imagine so. I haven't seen any of that, but there's a pass here from as low as 7,800. But of course, you have to be physically present to go and buy that. And then they jump up to the 20K mark.
And maybe it's reserved for 4-player. These just show up there too, huh?
Oh, that's a good point.
Oh, I'm sitting on the
Monkey
data.
Man.
I'm going to check. Check
And
the
it's in
database.
London. Dustio store, variety legits. So yeah, you're probably right for it to be that low price. Probably is.
Ain't no one in London.
No, they're all bailed out. So if you are getting involved in that, best of luck to you. If you're in Aussie land or thereabouts and you get another 3 a.m. extra, good luck to you.
4 a.m.
4 a.m. for you, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, now what are we up to? This week's quips. Oh, it's a bit of a in-depth this one. So yeah, if you have an Upland related question, insight, provocation, or statement that we can dive into on the weekly Upland Down Under podcast, then there's a link to the quips Google form in the description. Angry Ursi has gone ham. I'll try and get onto yours, Angry, next week. There's a whole bunch that he sent through. If you include your in-game name, like Angry has in your submission, and it's used on the show, you'll win yourself some kind of prize. This week, we've got a fantastic and in-depth quips from longtime supporter of the show, Trendy Prop. He starts off by saying, the season pass rewards have been active for a few weeks now. Here are my thoughts, meaning his thoughts on the matter. Some of these we've talked at length about. Slack and I kind of talked about these, or we've talked about on the show. But anyway, there's a lot to unpack here. What he outlines. He says it would be great if at least some of these season pass rewards offered real value to players in form of special bonuses instead of just being visually appealing. Some bonuses could also be valid till the end of the following season, not only during the actual season. Some bonuses could be unlocked immediately after purchase, while others should be unlocked after burning the season pass. In addition, exclusive special bonuses could be offered for every X amount of buyers or burner of the pass, kind of like what we've seen there with the Tahoe giveaways. This would benefit not only the players, but also Upland as a whole, as more players would buy all of the season passes and the overall player activity would increase too. He's got a few bullet points here. Some suggestions: alternating bonuses, visual bonuses. Yes, they're appealing to the eye, but there's no gameplay advantage. That's kind of the main point, the non-NFT cosmetics they're saying. And then on the flip side, he's saying, well, how about some gameplay bonuses that offer real value to Uplanders? Unlocking, he's suggesting that if you get the pass, you could get some instant bonuses that are available immediately after you purchase the season pass, or there could be delayed bonuses that are locked weekly after burning the season pass. It seems to be kind of what we've already got with the system. And then exclusive bonuses, as you said, every such amount of Uplander, X amount of Uplanders who burn the pass receive some additional bonus prize. He's got some other suggestions, which we've talked about before. Well, no, we didn't. Elslack, we talked about different coloured trails or different features of trails. I mentioned in other games that you could have like sparkles coming out of your trail, this, that, and the other thing. Well, he suggested having a longer trail behind your block explorer. So you imagine for things like the Tahoe City release, if you had the seasonal pass, you could go into that city release and you're going to have a much longer tail. That would put you at a bit of an advantage for the release and kind of would definitely add some kind of value to that pass. So yeah, increased range along the trail for minting and collecting planes as well if you're a treasure hunter. He's also mentioned a larger, he said here, block explorer activity yard. I think it means, the oval around your block explorer, the discovery range for minting, collecting paper airplanes, and finding treasures. He's also suggested improved treasure hunting, better direction and distance indicator. So maybe if you get the season pass, it'd be good if you're KYC'd and you get the season pass and you burn your season pass. Well, you get those, interim red arrows back. That'd be cool. Increased treasure hunt loot, +1 tier levels, except for tier 1 cities, of course. Travel speed. If you have burnt your pass, you get double travel speed by bus, train, plane, and car traveling. Block Explorer movement. Your Block Explorer is 1.5 times faster movement on the map. Paper airplanes, increased number of collectible paper airplanes, being able to collect 25 instead of, what is it? He said 13, but the max is 11, and 11's the max you can hold at any one time. Temporary vehicles. This is an interesting one. So, bonus, unsellable Series 1 car with comparable stats to the best available car in the series for racing, traveling, and transporting without the need to stake spark. So, kind of almost like a loaner car. Unsellable semi-truck with comparable stats, a similar kind of thing. Spark multiplier, a bonus multiplier to the personal spark balance. So, imagine, I wonder how they do that, because Spark's basically, it's a cryptocurrency that's not a cryptocurrency, isn't it? So I don't know that they'd be able to do that, a multiplier, but it's an interesting thought. Tiny boost on your spark balance. Pricing, if you were a burnt seasonal pass holder, you might get reduced prices on certain in-game items for season pass holders. And then he finishes off by saying, by cleverly changing the bonuses or rewards from season to season or from week to week within each season, players could be encouraged to try out certain features and activities that they would otherwise not be able to use or would not be able to use as successfully. For example, racing the most powerful cars or winning competitive treasure hunts. Best regards, Trendy Pro. So I don't know. I think there's some pretty good suggestions in there. A lot to unpack. Any thoughts as I was going through all that?
That's a hell of a lot to unpack. There's some great ideas in there. I strongly disagree with anything that offers an advantage. Being a treasure hunter, I don't think there should be any advantage for any player. Like longer trails, bigger. It needs to be the same for everybody. But some of the ideas are awesome. I like the idea of like the vouchers, stuff like that. I mean, we discussed that before, like having vouchers, like maybe a train, bus, plane vouchers. Like I said, there could be a weekly like spin the wheel or something like that where you could receive one of those prizes. You could even chuck in there a 10% at the shop discount on these USD purchases or something like that, like a voucher that you got to use by the end of the next season or something. I agree with like a lot of what he says. I think there needs to be more value like that put into it, and maybe it'll come eventually. But I don't think any advantage, like I don't think a longer trail would be fair to have.
Well, it does push the pay to play angle, but the whole game's pay to play. So I don't know. It's a tricky one.
By the way, all these things that are mentioned are already visible on the API. The block explorer speed is 0.7, tail length is 750, tail radius is 50. So they aren't hard to change from Upland. So this is the data your browser is constantly syncing with the server, like your position of the BE or something like that, and there are all these values in. So if the server says your speed is 0.8 and not 0.7, it's just something they could switch on. It's just the same as they can say, okay, the Upland Bureau Block Explorer is no longer in San Francisco, but now it's in South Lake Tahoe. It's just something to add in their database. And even if we can't travel, they can just put your BE there, like they could put your BE to Alcatraz or something like that. It's all possible ideas. If they are good or not, yeah. It's, like you said, pay to play, pay to win. It's you can't you can't really play without putting any money in it, even if that's as low as $5. So there are examples like Green Turtle, from the German community.
Yep.
We just talked, but he started in the beginning of the game. So there
Ah.
maybe it was easier if you started in front. If I don't think it may be possible to get to chief executive from Visitor without putting money in it now, but I think maybe it's harder because
Yeah,
all this multi-account and bot sniping and all these things that maybe get it harder for you to get the right deals because they are all sniped away.
yeah.
It's maybe it's not impossible, but it won't take longer. It will
It's
take
much
longer.
harder. It's definitely much harder nowadays. Old mate Green Turtle. I mean, I bet you if he could go back in time, he wished he didn't put that $5 in because that always gets brought up. He's reached executive status without putting money in, and somebody inevitably says, "Well, actually, he put $5 in at the very start." Well, $5, I mean, come on. Yeah,
Can I just add to that?
much.
One of the biggest problems I have with Upland in general is the lack of communication between not just them and their team, but their community leaders, their community people, stuff like that. Often,
Their
like
team and their team.
yeah, they don't even know what's going on, let alone letting us know what's going on. What the hell is wrong with just asking us what we want? Why can't they put out
We got
surveys
a
or
voting system.
exactly right? That's what this is my point.
Yeah.
This is one of my problems I've always had. Like, why not ask us every now and again for some input? Generally speaking, whatever they suggest is what the community ends up voting for anyway. But why don't they go? Well, what do you want to see in the season pass for next season? And throw it out there and let players have a say and maybe give us something that stops us from whinging a little bit. I don't know. I mean, is it really going to hurt them that much to start giving us, like we're talking about, like these vouchers and stuff that Bally, like I said, I'm fully for these vouchers. And like I said, spinning a wheel, maybe, maybe the grand prize is 1 in 100 chance of getting it, which you think about it will take more than 2 years on average to get because it's only 6 out of 8 weeks or stuff like that. But it could be like 0.1 spark for the grand prize, which is not much, but it's still pretty bloody good. But you could have 0.01 spark, it could be like the second prize, and then you could have a little bit of UpX and then have these vouchers. Like even a Sens voucher, like to get one free 10-pack of Sens that they sell for $1 or whatever it is they sell it for.
Yeah, well, X1 puts out those update videos every week that's about it. Well, they could just spin a wheel on there, Here's 10 prizes that we're going to give to all of the, the burnt pass holders. So
but
definitely could do it.
The point I'm trying to make is why doesn't Upland ever give us an option to have our say, like to put up a survey or something, or the voting system, throw in suggestions. Like let's face it, the community have some bloody awesome ideas, but Upland, to the vast extent, don't seem to want to listen to us, or that's the feeling I get at times.
The whole decentralized angle, isn't it? It's supposed to be heading towards decentralization, but it's very much in the
how many votes have we had since they released the voting system, which happened when I first started? So that's nearly 2 years ago. How many votes have we had?
Names of things, and then of course there was the.
So I'm not going back to the OG votes and stuff like that.
One.
Yeah, 2.
Oh, really? Yeah.
So we've had 2 votes. So not going back to the OG votes where you got the what do you call it, badge for voting, because that was to do with all the collections and name properties or whatever. But yeah, we've had 2 votes in 2 years. That doesn't sound very centralized to me. I think there needs to be more communication. I mean, Upland treat us as it's been said plenty of times, like cash cows, just whatever. I mean, Upland need us as much as we need them. Without a partnership, there is no game.
Yes.
And I think Upland, my personal opinion is, I think Upland needs to start realizing that and go, all right, like they're not going to tell us everything. That's fine. Like we're not going to get to know what the next cities are and all this sort of stuff. But more community. Why release the car travel and not tell people, by the way, this is going to happen in the next week. Make sure your cars are where they need to be. Like that's just way to piss off the community. I mean, I don't know. I would have changed where I was at Queens. I didn't know what the next city was going to be, but like people that have 10 cars all in the one spot, like just. And you wonder why they're swapping, like, yeah.
There's precedent for that. Like I've been saying for the longest time with the map assets, moving the map assets. Like I was in a mad rush to get all mine spread out because I knew this was, and
coming.
this is probably a good indication that that's on the way too. There's going to come a time where the button's pushed on that, and you can't just move your airdrop your map assets. That's 100% coming. I would bet everything all in that that's going to happen this year sooner rather than later. So that'll be another case.
But is it
I
so
think
bad
there's
from?
been every indication.
Is it so bad for them to tell us exactly when that's coming? Like even if it's just a week's notice? Like what? How would it upset them if they went? Oh, by the way, transport starting next week. Make sure your car's where it needs to be.
Yep, it'd go a long way, wouldn't it? Just that small
It's
little
communication, and I think that's where Upland always gets a big F from me. They fail.
Yeah.
Like they just don't want to communicate anything with us, and they don't like to treat us as partners, which in a way we are. I mean, like I said, there is no game without us, and there's no game without them. Like we've got to work together, and if you keep pissing us off, people will keep quitting. I mean, yeah, sure, the bull run's coming and new players will turn up, but there's been a lot of people quit over the last couple of years, which is very disappointing.
Yeah, it's it always gets spruiked that the community is one of the strongest aspect of it, and that comes from Upland directly. Throw us a little bone like that every now and then would go a very long way.
The Upland community is awesome, but sometimes I question if Upland's part of that community.
That's a good point. All right, and just to finish that train of thought off, King Cody has said in chat, I thought it would have been cool to have a frost structure ornament that's tied to your account and could universally be applied across all structure types, but only one structure at a time could be considered just a cosmetic for the season pass holders. Yeah, I think it doesn't really matter. No worries, Buelerman. I don't think it really matters any of these ideas we had. Upland seemed to be really pushing with these seasonal passes that they were going to be, non-functional NFTs. They're just purely cosmetics. I think they're going to just angle more and more into that. So I think, as much as I hate to say it, I think we're just really pissing in the wind with what we'd like to see change.
FYI, property lines are up for Tahoe.
Ooh. Let's just have a quick squeeze at that now. Since I didn't close my accounting thingy.
There's definitely room for expansion.
Would I have to refresh?
Yeah, you probably have to refresh. Maybe the shift refresh button or something. That's right. But I've definitely got it up on my one. Cool. I can share if you want.
Yeah, you can have a quick look while I get this other stuff ready to go.
I mean,
be interesting to see just what the property sizes. Are you not able to share?
I'm just trying to see stop cam settings, present. There we go. I'm not used to this new.
No, the new fandangled system.
Don't share screen. There we go.
Turn off Block Explorer.
Hang on. I'm sharing the wrong screen now, aren't I?
I haven't got one up yet. Oh, I got to add it to the storage. That was my bad. Sorry. There you go.
Oh, so you got yours going? Sorry, I've not tried to share before since you've swapped over.
This is yours. I just had to push the button. You bailed out. You had it.
I
just got to I got to authorize it on my end. It doesn't kind of show up. It's just a weird little button that pops up.
I don't think it was the right screen anyway.
All right, we'll move on. We'll see if we get some time at the back end. We might play around with that. So, yes, that was a very, very good in-depth one, the trendy prop. Just to put a bow on that one, thank you very much for that. You've well and truly earned yourself your 10,000 UPX after fees. And reminder that if you want to submit a quips, you've got to put your in-game name into your submission. All right, moving on, we got the dynamic node builders getting to know community members in this week's Getting to Know Community Members segment, care of Mesme and the other members of the dynamic node builders team. They're featuring Ultimate the Agency. The agency has his fingers and thumbs in loads of awesome community-driven pies all over the Upland Metaverse. For a bit of extra context before we take a look at his responses to the D&B questionnaire, the agency is currently an executive with a net worth just over 16 million UPX. He's got 465 properties and a touch over 12 Spark. His home residence is in the United Center neighborhood of Chicago, of which he is a node manager of, I believe. He's also the owner of the Stadium Chaser Metaventures, which offers up a wide variety of sports-themed map assets, and other Web3 goodies. You can check out some of what he's got going on. He's got his very own website. It's stadiumchasers.com. Link in the description for that one if I remember to put it in too. Let's just have a squeezy. I've started to have a bit of a bo peep at what people have got going on with their accounts, and as I've been playing around so much with mine. It's kind of interesting. So yes, old mates, the agency's been around since September 29th, 2021. So been around for quite a while. Pretty stable in his progress chart, although it's a bit of a sell-off. What was that? Start of the year, and then building back up from there. So, all right, let's move on over to this one. So this is his responses to the questionnaire. The agency, Upland since September 21, as I said, tattoos, yes. Introvert or extrovert? Extrovert. Been to Vegas, yes. He goes yearly. Bucket list, international travel. Celebrity you know the most about? Michael Jordan. Guilty pleasure, Butterfingers. What's that? Some kind of Yankee sweet, I would imagine. Famous fact about where you live, thin air. Interesting. One thing you will never do again, more kids. Occupation, elderly helper. Follow your heart or your head. Follows his heart. 3 Uplanders he chats with regularly. Joe lives, of course, cafe and Friendland's pet peeve. Wet socks. I don't know anybody that enjoys wet socks. Maybe that's somebody's kink. I don't know. Wet socks. Fair enough. Interesting. So yes, if you would like to get yourself involved in what the DMB's got going on, or if you want to know something about somebody else, then send Mesme or any of the other dynamic node builders a DM, or click the link to the DMB Discord server, which is in the description. Say good day and tell them the Upland Down Under podcast sent you. And yeah, don't forget to check out what the agency's got going on. Link in the description, stadiumchasers.com. And that brings us up to the competition wheels. Last week's challenge, I accidentally deleted this before when I was updating my notes, but I believe it was something along the lines of, in the contest channel within the NBA server, get in there and let us know what you think about the official Upland Racing Series, and if and how you are involved in racing in Upland. As I think I said at the start when we we're talking about it, it doesn't appear like at least the people that responded to that not heavily involved. Your name will roll on a list of all entrants for the chance to win 10,000 UPX after fees, and of course you'll get yourself another entry into the 2024 end of year prize giveaway draws.
Yeah,
So
I
let
just
me
put
pull
my
that up
opinion
now.
here in the podcast, but forget to write the sentence in the Discord to get on the wheel.
Yes. 3. All right, I think I got that up now. Yep. Right, so this is for 10,000 UPX after fees. It's gonna go to. Oh, Angry might have it for Brabant. Brabant, congratulations, Brabant Swiss.
Yay.
Write that down. Good on you. And apologies, I was a bit slack and a bit late getting out the prizes from last week's show. I had a fair bit going on with the family. I'll just stay in share there while I just run through this next bit. So that was last week's challenge. Now, this week's challenge is a bit of a special one. As for the prize, that is, the challenge itself is, I mean, you can pretty much guess what it is, surely, in the contest channel within the NBA server. And considering that by the time most people are listening to or watching this recording, South Tahoe would have already been released. Let us know how you went. And of course, if you skipped it, like what I'm going to do, then outlining the what and why of why you skipped it would also be a valid entry. Just like this week, your name will roll on a list of all entrants for the chance to win 10,000 UPX after fees. But if you remember at the start of the show, when I said it was brought to you by Aussie Upland community legend Lilyfield and an epic map asset MetaVenture Lilybud Design Group, and that Lily is offering up a gardening set as a giveaway for listeners and watchers of the show, which features a wheelbarrow, a shovel, a spade, and rake, and possibly more. Well, putting a weekly challenge entry in is your ticket for that draw, which will be spun and won on next week's show. So, yes, get your entries in. Don't sleep on that one. You'll win 10,000 UPX after fees from me and a gardening map asset set from Lily and Lilybud Design Group. And of course, that will be yet another entry into the 2024 end of year prize giveaways. Now, that brings us up to the live participants wheel. I have been giving away garden bridges. I've been giving away swag of them recently. But D-Tech and I have to do a bit of swapping around. I got to give him some garden bridges. He's got to get me some arrows. So I'm throwing it out there this week that if your name comes up for this one, you can choose either a garden bridge or one of our Love Heart jacuzzis. So let me joint everybody out of there. Now we have Laban, King, Lily, Zoe, L, Slack, Swali, Buleman, Koza, I think it is. Is it Koza or Kaza? Apologies. I can't even read my own writing. And Owie. Now, I don't believe anybody else jumped in today. Slack, King Cody. I got King in there. Yes. All right. It's going to be your choice of a Samurai Aquatics Red Garden Bridge or the Love Heart Jacuzzi. Oh, Swali's done it again. What's that? Two in a
row. On a roll. I've got the
done,
bridge. I wouldn't mind a jacuzzi.
Love Heart Jacuzzi. All right. I'll note that down. Shouldn't be late getting those out this week because, like I said, I ain't sleeping tomorrow night. So I'll be moving a crap ton of map assets.
I've got this working now if you want to. I think I might have said property outlines, but I meant the neighbourhood outlines.
Oh, the neighbourhood outlines. Yeah, no, yeah. They've been up for a while. I thought you meant the property.
No, well, they went up on my screen and then I refreshed and they came up. So my bad.
All good. Yes, but yeah, I mean, look at that Tahoe Keys or whatever it's called. That's got collection written all over it. All right, well, that's all I got this week. Anybody else got anything to spruik or spam? Going once?
I'm good.
All good. All right. On that note, if you are in a time zone that fits in with the Thursday night recording schedule of starting at 7 p.m. AEST and you'd like to get involved, the link to the weekly live podcast is always dropped in the NBA server about 15 minutes before the show starts. And of course, that invitation extends to any of the channel's podcast productions. So if you have an Upland, NFT, or Metaverse product, service, or event to promote, then send me Ben68 a DM. Or get yourself into the NBA server, which is linked in the description. Not going to do any interview series this week. Going to be out of action this weekend, so I'll hopefully try and organise to get in touch and have a chat with somebody for next weekend. If you have anybody in mind that you think it'd be good to talk to, let me know. Otherwise, I've got somebody else in mind that I might tap on the shoulder for another chat. All right, on that note, thank you, everybody. Best of luck for South Tahoe if you're getting involved, and we'll catch you later.